You ever get those movies where you sit down and watch them and you think in your head, you know, I'll just get through this and be done with it because I don't think I'm really going to like it. And then it just kind of slaps you in the face. And it's like, holy fuck, that movie was really fucking good. Well, this is definitely one of those movies. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. So yeah, I mean, I sat down to watch this movie, Feedback, and I don't know, I watched the trailer for it, and I don't know, you just get those vibes where you just don't think you're gonna like a movie. But I sat down and watched it anyway, and man, oh man, I was surprised at how much I like this movie. Let me get through this stuff really quick. First of all, it is directed by Pedro Alonso, and then it's got some recognizable faces in here. Eddie Marsan, who you will recognize right off the hop, and then Richard Brake, and we all know his face. He was in Doom and 3 from Hell. I mean, the guy's, he's just got one of those looks about him, do you know what I mean, where he's meant to play the bad guy. And basically the synopsis really quick is a radio star experiences the worst night of his life when stalkers assault the radio station where he's working. And I mean, that's exactly what happens, man. The opening scene, we're kind of introduced to Eddie's character, Jarvis. And he's kind of this pompy ass, kind of a smug, can do no wrong, sort of a DJ radio host, okay, late night. And you know, it's funny too, because there's been a few of these kind of movies that I've enjoyed. The first one being Talk Radio. That came out years and years ago, and if you haven't seen Talk Radio, go find it. It is really well done. And then the other one too is kind of Pontypool, which is a Canadian film. It's actually a zombie film of a radio broadcaster that stays on the air while an outbreak is taking place. So that movie is fantastic as well. So if you haven't seen either of those, make sure you go find them. But this movie's kind of in the same style. But it's like I said, he has to stay on the air, or the kidnappers make him stay on the air while they're overtaking the radio station. But back to his character, we find out in the opening scene, the first act, that the ratings on his show are kind of taking a downward spiral. So they want to bring back his former partner, and then he's not. Doesn't really want to do that. He thinks he's a one-man show. He's got like this huge ego and this attitude and stuff. So anyways, at the end of the conversation, he agrees to it. And they're going to introduce Andrew, who is his partner, back in the, on the show, after the first hour. That's what kind of they agree to and stuff like that. So anyways, but that aside, just as he goes on the air, there's three attackers break in the station and overrun it. And, this guy, this Jarvis Dolan character is so cocky and just does not want to be told what to do. Do you know what I mean? And he fights these guys to the bitter end, kind of not obeying them. And they want him to get this. Well, they want two things. First of all, they wait until Andrew comes on. So Andrew comes in the studio and he doesn't know anything about them being overrun, because the three attackers hide kind of in the not the studio room, but not the on-air room, but the studio room where all the mixers and stuff are. And there's two people in there that work there, Anthony and Claire, and they're kind of the sound people and stuff. So when Andrew comes in the room to get on the air, he doesn't know what's going on. Jarvis is trying to give him signs, but you know what I mean? So, and then anyways, what the attackers want is they want Andrew to confess to something that happened a couple years ago at a hotel with a guy and a couple of girls that he was involved in. And he wants him to admit it on the air, and that's what they're forcing him to do. And then also Jarvis, they want him to admit as to what he did, but he is just outright denying it, okay? And that's kind of the first act into the second act, okay? And I'll say this, when you have a movie of this nature, you have to have good fucking dialogue, or it is gonna fucking fail miserably, you know what I mean? And it didn't. I mean, there's some great actors in this movie. Now you're probably wondering why I'm doing this as a like, you know, because I mostly revolve around horror movies and sci-fi. Well, again, there's a whole vast array of like the genre of horror is just massive. Do you know what I mean? And this movie fits in there. I know it may not seem like it from the trailer, but this is a revenge flick for sure. And there's a fair amount, not a ton, but there's some pretty good graphic gore in this movie as well. I don't want to say when or not when, but like how or what happens. Do you know what I mean? But it's I'll tell you, it's like a slow burn to the halfway mark of this movie. So I mean, basically, we're just character building. We're learning what's going on, and we find out what these attackers want. And you know, I'll be God honest. There was a few times where I did roll my eyes, and I was thinking, okay, like, just can this movie pick up, please? And I'll tell you, at the 44-minute mark, something happens, and it's game on for the rest of this movie. I'll tell you, like I said, the first 44 minutes of this movie, I was like, this is okay. And then as soon as that happens, boom, this movie just shifts into a higher gear. It's kind of like the opposite of a review I just did for Patience of a Saint, where the first half of that movie was killer, and then the second half was just a mess, you know what I mean? And it was actually kind of boring, whereas this movie is never a mess. It's always well directed and it's well acted. But it is a tad bit long in the first act, maybe even into this halfway through the second. But again, 44-minute, you'll see what happens, and then from there on, it's balls to the wall. So anyways, I don't want to give spoilers for this movie. It's better if it just unfolds in front of you, because there are some twists and turns. You know, there's points in the movie where you hate the bad guys, and then you're maybe on their side a little bit, then you're back to hating him, and back and forth and back and forth. And the same with the Jarvis character. I mean, you hate this pompous, smug asshole, you know, when you first meet him, and then you kind of feel sorry for it. It's like there's so many emotions that go on in this movie, and I just thought it was fantastic. It's a pretty good roller coaster ride of a movie. So I think you'll really enjoy it. I know I really did enjoy it. To give it a rating, I would probably give it a really strong 7.5. Yeah, check this movie out. It comes out on the 17th, and it's called Feedback. And wow, I mean, don't pass this movie up. It is really, really good. Well directed, great dialogue. You know, the actors are fantastic in this movie, and it's got some gore in it. It's got some pretty damn good gore in it, to be honest with you. So anyways, check it out. It's called Feedback. If you guys have seen it, chime in and let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't, go rent it, come back and let me know. I'm actually curious to see, you know, if you guys like this movie. Trust me, if you're a fan of talk radio or Pontypool, I think you're really going to love this flick. So anyways, Feedback comes out on the 17th. And as always, guys, stay scared.